The desert wind howled across the endless golden sands. For weeks, the human team had been digging under the burning twin suns of the planet Keeler. Their camp was made of simple tents and half-broken machines, but their spirit was strong. They were not soldiers or conquerors. They were explorers, chasing whispers of something ancient hidden beneath the dunes. Myra stood at the edge of the excavation pit. She was a young leader, but her voice carried calm strength. Sweat rolled down her face as she studied the ground below. The workers had uncovered a wide stone platform covered in strange carvings. The symbols were unlike anything her team had seen before, yet they seemed to speak directly to the heart. Circles, suns, and long rays stretched across the stone, as if telling a story of light. "Keep brushing," Myra called to the workers. "Do not rush. Every line matters." Beside her, an alien archaeologist named Thar watched with cold eyes. His tall frame and scaled skin gave him an intimidating look. He had joined the humans claiming to seek knowledge, but his constant mutters made Myra uneasy. He often reminded them that treasures of ancient times did not belong to humans alone. Still, the council had insisted on joint missions, so Myra kept him close but never trusted him fully. As the sun dipped lower, one of the workers shouted from the pit. "We found something." "A doorway." Myra hurried down the rope ladder and stood before the massive stone slab half buried in sand. The carvings around it showed humans kneeling before a blazing throne, rays shining from it like a second sun. Myra's heart pounded. This was no ordinary ruin. This was a pyramid built for something beyond memory. With great effort, the team pushed the slab aside. A blast of cool air escaped, carrying the scent of dust that had been sealed for centuries. Their lights cut into the darkness, showing a long corridor leading down. Walls lined with murals stretched into the shadows. Myra stepped forward carefully, each sound echoing like thunder in the silence. The murals showed tall figures, but they were not alien. They were human. Men and women standing proudly, holding torches of fire, their faces calm and strong. Around them, smaller alien forms bowed in respect. Myra stopped, staring at one mural that showed a shining golden seat at the heart of a pyramid. The throne glowed like a star. Beneath it was an inscription in symbols no one could read, yet Myra felt the meaning in her chest. "The throne of the sun waits for the children of light." She turned to Thar. His sharp eyes narrowed. "This is false. Humans were never here in the old ages. These are lies carved by those who feared the true rulers of the stars." Myra ignored him. Something deep inside told her this was real. She pressed onward, leading her team into a vast chamber at the end of the hall. The room was circular, with walls covered in golden paint that still shimmered after thousands of years. At the center stood a massive chair made of solid gold, its arms shaped like rising suns. Jewels ran along its edges, and the seat seemed to pulse faintly with light, as if it still breathed with hidden power. Gasps filled the chamber. Even the most tired workers stood silent, staring at the throne. It was not only a treasure. It was a presence. The air felt heavy, yet warm, as though the throne itself was alive. Myra stepped closer. Her footsteps echoed softly. She reached out her hand but stopped just before touching the golden surface. A low hum filled the chamber, like the heartbeat of a giant. Her lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. The pyramid itself seemed to awaken. The workers backed away nervously. Some whispered that they should leave, that this was not meant for mortals. But Myra stood firm. Her eyes never left the throne. She felt as if it was watching her, measuring her, waiting for something only she could give. Thar hissed under his breath. "This is no throne for you. This belongs to higher ones. Leave it before you doom us all." Myra did not answer. She looked around the chamber once more. The murals told the story clearly. Humans had stood here before. Long before Earth's people had known fire or steel, They had been part of something greater, something connected to the suns themselves. This was not just an alien ruin. This was a memory of humanity's place in the stars. She finally lowered her hand, choosing not to touch the throne yet. The humming faded, but the light still glowed faintly, as if waiting for the right moment. Myra turned to her team. "Mark this chamber. We will study everything. No one touches the throne until we understand what it is." Her words carried strength, but inside, she felt the pull of destiny. The golden throne was more than a relic. It was a key, and it was waiting for humanity to claim it once again. Outside, the wind of the desert grew stronger. Sand whipped across the camp as if the world itself sensed what had been uncovered. Above, the twin suns set slowly, painting the sky with red fire. Beneath their fading light, the golden throne waited in silence, and the pyramid seemed to breathe for the first time in ages. The chamber of the throne remained heavy with silence long after the team left it. The workers returned to camp, whispering among themselves, while Myra stayed behind with two close crew members. She could not shake the image of the glowing golden seat. It was more than metal and stone. It felt alive. She stepped closer again, her lamp shining across the carved arms of the throne. Strange lines ran along its surface, almost like veins carrying light. They pulsed faintly, golden and warm, as if they were following her heartbeat. Myra reached out her hand again, then drew it back. She wanted to know more, but she was cautious. Beside her, Thaar stood tall with a frown. His scaled arms were crossed tightly. "You see how it reacts," he muttered. "It waits for something. But why should it wait for you? Why should it glow for a human and not for me?" Myra glanced at him calmly. "Because it was built for humans. You saw the murals. Our kind sat here long ago." Thaar's eyes narrowed. "Stories carved on walls are easy to shape. Truth is harder. Do not think that you are special because the throne hums when you near it. It may be a trick, a trap meant to lure the weak." Myra ignored his sharp words. She turned to one of her crew, a young man named Ryan. "Bring the scanner." Ryan hurried forward, holding a small device. He aimed it at the throne, and lines of data appeared on his screen. "Strange," he whispered. "This metal is not ordinary gold. It has layers, like living tissue. And the energy inside it, it is huge. I have never seen numbers like this." The hum in the air grew stronger as Myra stepped closer. This time, she did not stop. She placed her hand gently on the cold golden surface of the throne. The chamber filled with light. Golden fire ran along the lines of the throne, climbing up its arms and reaching the high backrest. The walls of the pyramid glowed faintly in answer. A rush of images struck Myra's mind. She saw stars exploding, suns burning brighter, and ships made of light sailing across endless skies. She saw humans standing tall among alien races, carrying banners of fire. Her knees buckled and she pulled her hand away, gasping for air. The glow faded, leaving only a faint shimmer behind. Ryan ran to her side. "Are you hurt?" Myra shook her head, still breathing hard. "No, I saw something. A vision. The throne, it showed me the stars dying, but also humans standing against the darkness." Thaar's face twisted with envy. "It speaks only to you. Why not me? Why not others? I refuse to believe such power belongs only to your kind." He stepped forward and placed his clawed hand on the throne. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a harsh spark of light lashed out. Thaar cried out in pain and stumbled back, his scales smoking. The throne glowed faintly for a second, then returned to silence. The humans stared in shock. Thaar's expression was filled with rage. "It rejects me," he said through clenched teeth. "But I will not accept this. I will find a way to claim it." Myra's eyes hardened. She could feel the throne watching her, waiting for her to understand more. She turned to Ryan. No one else touches it? Only humans. We must be careful, but this is ours to protect. The team set up more scanners around the chamber, but their machines struggled to read the energy. The throne seemed to resist being measured. The more they studied it, the more they realized it was not only a seat but also a machine. Ryan pointed at the base where faint circles of light shifted slowly. This is not decoration, he said. It is a mechanism. The throne may control something much larger, maybe even the pyramid itself. Myra nodded slowly. That would explain why the murals showed the sun. The throne is linked to power beyond this room. Perhaps it draws energy from the stars. As night fell outside, the team gathered in the camp to share food. But the air was tense. Whispers spread among the workers. Some believed the throne was a gift to humans. Others feared it was a curse that would bring ruin. Thar sat apart, nursing his burned arm. His eyes gleamed with quiet anger. He spoke to a few aliens in hushed tones, and Myra noticed but said nothing. She knew he was planning something, but she could not risk dividing the team yet. Later, Myra returned alone to the chamber. She stood before the golden throne, feeling its silent hum echo inside her chest. She whispered to herself, "Why us? Why humans?" The throne gave no answer, but the faint glow seemed to brighten slightly, as if it heard her. Myra closed her eyes. She could almost feel it breathing, waiting for the day it would fully awaken. She turned and walked back toward the camp. Above the desert, the twin moons rose, silver light shining over the dunes. In the distance, shadows moved across the sand. Unknown watchers had seen the light from the pyramid, and now they drew closer, hungry for what had been found. The golden throne of the Sun Pyramid had been uncovered, and already, the stars had begun to stir. The desert night was quiet, but it was not the quiet of peace. Shadows moved across the dunes under the pale silver moons. Riders with long cloaks and sharp weapons watched the human camp from a distance. Their eyes glowed faintly as they whispered to each other. They had seen the light that burst from the pyramid earlier. To them, it was a sign of treasure beyond measure. In the camp, Myra sat awake near the fire while most workers rested. She felt uneasy, as if the pyramid's hum still lived inside her chest. Ryan joined her, carrying a small data pad. "The scanners are strange," he said softly. "They show energy building inside the pyramid. It is not dangerous yet, but it is alive, like it is waiting for something." Myra nodded. "The throne is not just a relic. It is connected to power outside this world. That is why it reacts to us." Before Ryan could answer, a sound cut across the night. It was the howl of horns, followed by the rumble of hooves on sand. The camp jumped awake as raiders charged down from the dunes, their weapons flashing in the moonlight. "Attack!" Myra shouted, grabbing her rifle. The workers scrambled for cover while guards lifted their weapons. The raiders crashed into the camp, swinging blades and firing crude energy shots. Tents tore apart, and supplies spilled across the sand. Myra led the defense with steady calm. "Hold the line near the pyramid," she ordered. "Do not let them near the chamber." Ryan and a few guards set up barriers from broken crates and fired back. The humans were fewer in number, but they fought with discipline. Every move was measured, every shot carefully aimed. The raiders, though wild and many, soon found themselves slowed by traps the humans had built around their dig site. Pits hidden under sand swallowed riders, and wires caught their legs. Thar stayed at the edge, watching with narrowed eyes. He did not fight for the humans, but neither did he fight against them. His gaze was fixed on the pyramid, as if the throne itself called to him even in the chaos. Myra ducked behind a barrier as a blast struck near her. She pulled Ryan close and whispered, "They do not come only for supplies. They come for the throne." Ryan's eyes widened. "How do they know?" Myra shook her head. It does not matter. We cannot let them inside. The raiders pushed harder, trying to break through the humans' defenses. But something strange began to happen. The golden throne inside the chamber started to glow faintly. A soft hum spread through the pyramid walls and into the ground. The sand under the humans seemed to steady, while under the raiders it shifted and pulled at their feet. The defenders felt a sudden warmth in their chests, a strength beyond their own fear. Myra raised her weapon and shouted, "Stand firm. This is our ground." The humans fought with renewed fire. Every step they took forward made the throne glow brighter. The raiders grew uneasy, shouting to each other in confusion. Some of their beasts refused to move closer to the pyramid, as if afraid of the light. Within an hour, the raiders' attack began to break. Many lay defeated in the sand, and the rest pulled back, howling curses. Their leader raised his fist and shouted, "We will return. The throne will be ours." Then they vanished into the dunes, leaving the camp in ruins but not destroyed. The humans stood in silence, breathing hard. Fires burned across the camp, but the pyramid stood untouched, its golden glow fading slowly. Myra lowered her rifle, her arms trembling from exhaustion. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. "We held them off. But they will come again." Myra nodded, her eyes turning to the pyramid. "Yes. They will. And next time, they will come with greater force." Thar stepped forward, his voice sharp. "You see now. The throne brings danger. As long as it stands, enemies will come for it. Do you still think you can protect it?" Myra met his gaze without fear. "It reacts to us. It gives us strength when we fight together. That is why we will protect it. This is not only treasure. It is a bond, and we will not let it fall to thieves." Thar's eyes flickered with doubt, but also with envy. He turned away, muttering to himself. Myra watched him carefully. She did not trust his silence, for it was the silence of someone planning. As dawn broke, the camp worked to rebuild. The humans repaired their tents, cleaned their weapons, and buried the fallen raiders in the sand. Though tired, their spirit was unbroken. They knew now that the throne was more than a discovery. It was a beacon, calling across the stars. Myra stood at the pyramid's entrance, watching the golden glow fade fully into silence. She whispered to herself, "The throne responds to us. It grows stronger when we stand together. That means it does not want power for one. It wants unity." The desert winds carried her words into the horizon. Far away, the raiders gathered again, swearing vengeance. And in the shadows of the galaxy, other eyes had already turned toward the planet. The golden throne of the Sun Pyramid had awakened, and the stars would not ignore it. The desert morning was calm, but the camp was still heavy with tension. Smoke from the night's battle rose faintly into the sky, and the workers moved quietly as they repaired what had been broken. No one laughed or sang as before. The memory of the raiders was still fresh in their minds. Myra stood near the pyramid's entrance, her eyes fixed on the carvings along the walls. She had not slept much. The golden throne lingered in her thoughts, its hum still echoing in her chest. She knew the raiders would return, but what troubled her more was the vision the throne had shown her. Stars burning, humans standing tall, and then darkness swallowing light. Ryan joined her, carrying a stack of papers filled with copied symbols from the murals. "I stayed up studying these," he said. "I think I have found something. Look here." He spread the papers on the sand, pointing at a series of repeating marks. "This is not decoration. It is a story. A warning." Myra knelt beside him, studying the strange curves and circles. She could not read the language, but the symbols of suns and broken stars were clear. Humans carved strong and proud at first, but later shone falling into shadow. "What does it say?" she asked. Ryan hesitated. The words are hard, but I think it says, only the children of the sun may wake the throne. But if they misuse its light, the stars will burn with them. Myra felt her chest tighten. It was not only a gift. It was also a danger. The throne was not made to give power without cost. Behind them, Thar's voice rose cold and sharp. Do you see? Even the ancients warned you. This throne is a curse, not a blessing. It should be destroyed before it destroys all. Myra turned to him. You tried to touch it? It rejected you. Now you speak against it because you fear it belongs to us. Thar's scaled face twisted with anger. I fear nothing. I only see truth. Your kind is young, reckless, and proud. If the throne truly belongs to you, then it will be your downfall. Ryan stepped forward, protective. And what would you do with it? Force it to bend to you? It nearly killed you when you touched it? Thar's eyes flickered with rage, but he said no more. He turned away, retreating into the camp. Myra watched him leave, unease growing inside her. She knew he would not stop. His pride would not allow it. That night, the camp grew quiet. The workers, still tired from the raid, slept deeply. Myra, however, remained restless. She walked the halls of the pyramid alone, her torchlight dancing across the ancient murals. The eyes of the carved humans seemed to follow her, as if they were alive. She entered the throne chamber, and once again, the golden seat glowed faintly. She approached slowly, placing her hand on the back of the chair. The hum rose gently, and warmth spread through her arm. Her mind filled with another vision. She saw a world of endless light, where humans ruled alongside the sun. Then she saw flames spreading across stars, burning everything. Armies fought, but the throne stood silent as if judging them. At the end, the sky was filled with ash, and the throne sank into the sand, waiting for another age. Myra pulled her hand away, breathing hard. The warning was clear. The throne had great power, but if misused, it could bring ruin not only to one people but to all. As she turned to leave, she heard a faint sound. A scrape of claws against stone. She froze, then moved her torch quickly. Thar stood at the far side of the chamber, his eyes burning with greed. You should not be here, Myra said firmly. Thar bared his teeth. And leave this power only to you? Never. My people have studied the stars for ages. We understand what to do with such strength. You are children playing with fire. Before Myra could stop him, he rushed forward and placed his hands on the throne once more. The glow erupted violently, brighter than before. A blast of golden energy threw Thar backward, slamming him against the wall. He fell to the ground, his body shaking, smoke rising from his claws. The throne's hum grew louder, echoing through the entire pyramid. Dust rained from the ceiling as the walls shook. The murals flickered with light, as if alive. The pyramid itself seemed to roar in warning. Myra ran forward, pulling Thar away from the base of the throne. He was alive but barely. His scales were cracked, and his breath came ragged. His eyes, however, still glowed with envy even in weakness. You see now, Myra whispered, her voice steady despite the trembling chamber. It will not accept you. It will not accept anyone but us. And if we misuse it, it will destroy even us. That is the warning. The hum slowly faded, and the pyramid grew silent again. Myra stood in the glow of her torch, looking at the golden throne. She knew what had to be done. They could not treat this as treasure. They could not treat it as a weapon either. It was a trust. A burden given only to humans. She lifted Thar with Ryan's help and carried him back to the camp. The workers stirred as she passed, their eyes wide with fear. They too had felt the tremor. Myra laid Thar down and turned to her people. The throne is real. Its power is great. But it comes with a warning. We cannot use it in pride or greed. We must guard it, or it will bring ruin. The camp fell silent. The only sound was the desert wind. And in that silence, Myra knew the battle for the throne had only begun. The desert sun rose hot and merciless over the camp, but the air felt heavier than the heat alone. Word of the throne had already spread beyond the dunes. Strange ships now passed in the skies above, their shadows crawling over the sands. The humans worked nervously, knowing they were no longer alone. Myra stood near the entrance of the pyramid, her eyes scanning the horizon. Ryan approached, holding a small communicator. His voice was tense. The Galactic Council has sent a message. They are on their way. They want to speak with you directly. Myra's chest tightened. She had expected this, but not so soon. The council was made of many races, some wise, others proud, all of them hungry for control. If they demanded the throne, what choice would she have? Yet deep inside, she already knew the answer. The council ship arrived by noon, its silver hull shining against the desert sky. It landed with careful grace, and a line of delegates walked out, each dressed in robes of authority. Their faces were mixed, some human, most alien, all carrying the weight of command. The leader stepped forward, a tall alien with pale skin and long silver eyes. His voice carried power though it was calm. We are the council. We have come for the relic. Myra bowed her head respectfully but stood her ground. It is not just a relic. It is alive. It responds only to humans. Murmurs spread among the delegates. Some whispered disbelief, others suspicion. The leader raised his hand for silence. That is why it must not stay in your hands. Such power is dangerous. The council will guard it, study it, and keep it from harming the galaxy. Ryan stepped forward in protest. Guard it? Or take it for yourselves? You speak of safety, but I hear only hunger. The leader's eyes narrowed. Young human, you do not understand the weight of history. Your people are new among the stars. You cannot carry such a burden. Myra's voice rose clear and steady. Then why does the throne respond only to us? Why does it reject all others? You saw what happened when Thar tried. It nearly killed him. The throne chose. Not us. At the mention of his name, Thar stirred weakly from where he rested among the workers. His scales still burned from the throne's rejection, but his pride remained unbroken. He called out bitterly, "She is right. It will not accept us. But that does not mean humans can be trusted. The warning is carved into the walls. If they misuse it, all will burn." The council leader seized on his words. Exactly. Even their own allies speak against them. That throne is a risk we cannot allow. We demand it be turned over. The workers grew uneasy, shifting where they stood. Myra looked around and saw fear in their eyes. They were outnumbered. They had no army. Only courage and the pyramid at their backs. She stepped forward, her shadow long in the sand. The throne is not for conquest. It is not for greed. It is for balance. We will guard it, and we will answer for it if needed. But we will not hand it over. The council murmurs grew louder. Some delegates looked impressed by her defiance. Others glared with sharp anger. The leader's voice rose again, harder this time. You would defy the will of the galaxy. Myra lifted her chin. No, I would defy the will of those who fear us. There is a difference. Suddenly, the ground shook. A low hum filled the air, rising from the pyramid behind them. Golden light seeped through the cracks of the stone walls, glowing brighter than the sun above. The delegates stepped back in alarm as the throne's power reached outward. A wave of pressure pushed through the chamber and into the desert, pressing hard against every alien present. Many staggered under its weight. Some dropped to their knees, clutching their heads. Only the humans stood unharmed, their bodies steady in the golden glow. Gasps filled the air. One alien cried out, "It is true. The throne rejects us." The council leader steadied himself, but even he could not hide the strain on his face. He pointed at Myra. "Do you see what danger this is? Already it spreads its will. Already it chooses favorites. This is not balance. It is war waiting to begin." Myra answered firmly, "No. It is balance. It only asks for trust. And you fear that trust because it does not include you." The throne's glow slowly faded, and the pressure eased. The delegates straightened, their pride wounded. The leader's silver eyes burned with quiet fury, but he did not strike. Instead, he spoke coldly. "If you will not hand it over, then others will come. Warlords, raiders, even those within the council who hunger for power. You have placed your kind at the center of a storm." Myra stood strong. "Then we will endure the storm. That is what humans do." Silence followed. The council leader gave a final glare, then turned back toward his ship. The delegates followed, their whispers carrying anger and fear. Within moments, the ship rose into the sky and vanished among the clouds. The camp let out a slow breath. Ryan looked at Myra with both pride and worry. "You stood against the council. Do you know what that means?" Myra nodded. Her voice was calm, though her heart was heavy. "It means the real fight has only just begun." Behind her, the golden throne glowed faintly once more, as if it agreed. The desert had grown restless. The days after the council's visit were filled with silence, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of waiting, as if the sands themselves held their breath. Myra knew it was only a matter of time before others came. By night, strange lights flickered on the horizon. Small craft moved in the distance like hunting beasts circling their prey. The workers grew uneasy. Some whispered about leaving, but Myra reminded them of the truth. "If we leave, the throne will be taken. If we stay, at least it has guardians." Her words gave strength, but fear still lingered in their hearts. Ryan kept watch with a group of volunteers. They had no real weapons, only tools and a few rifles brought from old supply crates. Yet they stood guard at the pyramid's entrance, their faces lit by torches and moonlight. On the third night, the silence broke. A low rumble shook the sands as armored transports approached. Dust clouds rose, and the sound of engines grew louder. Dark banners flew from the machines, and Myra recognized them at once. They were raiders, mercenaries who served no one but their own greed. Someone in the council must have told them where to strike. The camp was thrown into alarm. Workers rushed to gather what little they could use as defense. Ryan shouted, "Positions! Stay close to the walls. Do not break." The transports stopped a short distance away, and figures in dark armor marched forward. Their leader, a scarred alien with jagged teeth, stepped into the torchlight. His voice was harsh. "Humans! You cannot keep what belongs to the galaxy. Give us the throne, and you may live." Myra stepped forward, her cloak whipping in the desert wind. Her voice was steady, carrying across the sand. "The throne is not yours to claim. Leave now, and no blood will be spilled." The raider leader laughed, his voice sharp as metal scraping stone. "You speak as if you command the stars. But you are only a desert scholar with a relic too great for your kind. We will take it." He raised his hand, and his warriors surged forward. The first clash was brutal. Raiders charged with energy blades, striking at the camp's defenses. Humans fought back with rifles and courage, their shots lighting the night. Sand flew in the air as the two sides struggled, the pyramid glowing faintly behind them as if watching. Ryan fought at the front, blocking a blade with the barrel of his rifle before striking his attacker down. He shouted over the chaos, "Hold the line. Do not let them reach the gate." His voice carried strength, but he saw how outnumbered they were. For every raider that fell, two more pressed in. Myra stood at the steps of the pyramid, her hand on the stone wall. She whispered softly, as if speaking to the throne within. If you are truly with us, show us the way. The ground trembled. A low hum filled the air, deeper than before. Golden light seeped through the cracks in the pyramid, spilling out like dawn breaking the night. The raiders staggered, shielding their eyes. The humans felt no pain, only warmth and energy flowing through their bodies. Then it happened. From the sands around the pyramid, ancient stone figures began to rise. Carved guardians, shaped like lions with wings, broke free from the ground. Their eyes glowed with the same golden fire as the throne. With thunderous roars, they charged into the raiders. Panic spread among the attackers. Blades clashed against stone, but the guardians did not fall. Every strike they gave sent enemies flying into the sand. The battle turned, and the humans pushed forward with renewed strength. Ryan shouted with awe, "The pyramid fights with us." The raider leader snarled, refusing to yield. He raised a heavy cannon and aimed it at Myra. "Even your throne cannot save you," he cried. Before he could fire, one of the stone guardians leapt between them. The blast struck its chest, breaking part of its wing, but it held strong. With one final roar, it struck the leader down, his body thrown across the sand. The raiders saw their commander fall, and their courage broke. They fled back to their transports, leaving weapons and fallen behind. The desert grew quiet once more, broken only by the sound of heavy breathing. The humans stood together, wounded but alive. The golden guardians slowly sank back into the sands, their duty complete. The pyramid's light dimmed, leaving only the stars above. Myra walked among her people, her voice steady though her heart raced. Tonight, you stood against fear. You stood for more than survival. You stood for trust. The throne has shown us we are not alone. It chose us, and we will honor that choice. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice low. We won this night, but more will come. The council will not forgive this defiance. The raiders will not forget their shame. Myra looked back at the pyramid, its ancient stones glowing faintly in the starlight. Her eyes held both determination and sorrow. Then let them come. The desert teaches patience, and so will we. We will guard the throne until the end. The workers bowed their heads in silent agreement. For the first time, they did not feel like diggers or wanderers. They felt like guardians of something greater than themselves. The night passed slowly, but a new dawn rose with fire in the sky. And with it came the promise of greater trials ahead. The dawn after the battle felt different. The desert sky was painted in gold and red, as if the heavens themselves honored the struggle of the night. The workers moved with quiet hands, tending to the wounded, burying the fallen, and repairing what little had been broken. Yet in their hearts, something had changed. They were no longer just survivors. They were guardians. Myra stood at the steps of the pyramid, staring at the ancient stones. The golden light no longer burned brightly, but she could feel it pulsing deep within, waiting. It was not asleep, only watching. Ryan approached her, his clothes torn from the fight but his spirit unshaken. They will come again, he said. Stronger, and with more than raiders. The council will not stop now. Myra nodded. Her eyes never left the pyramid. I know. That is why we cannot hide any longer. The throne must reveal its true purpose. If it chose us, then it is time we understand why. With quiet determination, she walked into the pyramid. Ryan and a small group of workers followed, their footsteps echoing in the long chamber. The air felt charged, filled with an ancient rhythm like the beating of a heart. At the far end, the golden throne waited, its surface shining faintly as if welcoming them. Myra stepped closer. She placed her hand upon the armrest, and at once the chamber filled with blinding light. The others shielded their eyes, but Myra did not move. She felt herself drawn inward, pulled into a vision. She stood not in the pyramid, but in a hall of stars. Around her rose great pillars made of light, each one carved with moving shapes of galaxies. And upon a high dais sat a figure of fire and stone, neither man nor beast, but something far older. Its voice spoke without sound, reaching into her very soul. Child of earth, you have found what was left for your kind. Long before your people walked the sands, we built thrones across the stars. Each throne was meant to test, to weigh, to wait. Many came seeking power. Few endured. But you did not seek to rule. You sought to guard. That is why the throne answers you. Myra fell to her knees in awe. What is its purpose? She asked. The voice thundered gently. The thrones are keys. When the time of darkness falls, those who prove worthy may awaken them. Together, they form a bridge to a power that can guide life against the endless night. The others failed, but you have passed. Humanity is chosen. Before Myra could ask more, the vision faded. She was back in the chamber, standing before the golden throne. Her hand still touched its armrest, and the others watched with wide eyes. What did you see? Ryan asked. Myra's voice trembled, but her spirit burned with new fire. The throne is not only a seat. It is a key. It is part of something greater, something spread across the stars. And it chose us. Not for greed, not for conquest, but because we guarded it when others tried to steal. The chamber glowed once more, brighter than before. Symbols along the walls lit up, forming lines that stretched upward. A beam of golden light shot into the sky through the pyramid's peak. It climbed higher and higher until it disappeared among the stars. The workers gasped. Some fell to their knees in prayer, while others reached out as if to catch the light. Far above, in the endless night, a distant answering glow flickered. Another throne had awakened. Ryan's voice was heavy with awe. This is only the beginning. There are more, waiting for us. Myra nodded. Her heart felt both heavy and light. The weight of destiny pressed upon her, but so too did the hope of something far greater. Yes. We are not just guardians of this throne. We are seekers of them all. Humanity has been called. Outside, the desert winds rose, carrying the golden beams light far and wide. Beyond the sands, beyond the council, beyond the reach of raiders, the galaxy itself had been marked. A signal had been sent. Already, across unknown skies, eyes turned. Some with fear, some with greed, and some with hope. The humans at the Sun Pyramid did not yet know the scale of what they had begun. They only knew that their struggle was no longer about a relic in the desert. It was about the survival of many worlds. As the light faded, Myra placed her hand on the throne once more. This time, she did not feel only stone and gold. She felt the heartbeat of 1,000 stars. She felt the weight of trust. And she whispered, "We will not fail." Ryan stepped beside her, his eyes steady. Then the journey begins. The workers gathered around them, their faces filled with courage. They were no longer afraid of the council or the raiders. They had faced fear and had stood strong. Now they would walk into the unknown, not as servants of the past, but as builders of the future. The desert outside shimmered under the sun, the pyramid glowing faintly in its center. The throne of the Sun Pyramid had been unearthed, and with it, humanity's place among the stars. The story of guardians had ended. The story of seekers had begun.